Okay, it says you are live. Great. I just want to see that it's working for a moment. Oh, yeah, seems to be. Okay. And check on LinkedIn. And if you're watching, hello, welcome, and let us know who's watching. Let us know if you can see and hear us clearly. That would be great. And feel free to introduce yourself. Let us know where you're watching from today, who you are, anything about you. Okay. And just want to check that it's working on Facebook. And if you're watching, hello. Sorry for the echo. Okay. Don't see any comments yet. Catherine. Hi, Catherine. Welcome. Good to have you here. Thank you for joining us. All right. Well, while I'm waiting for Facebook to load to see if it's working, we can go ahead and get started anyways. So we are here for the Challenge Graduates interview. I'm here with Cindy Cole and Keith Lansing, and both of them have taken the challenge before, and I have taken the challenge before as well. So I can briefly introduce myself for anyone who doesn't know me. My name is Tara, and I took the Teacher Entrepreneur Challenge in March 2020. So it's already been over 2 years now, which is crazy to think about. And yeah, my background is just in ESL teaching. I've taught in the classroom in Spain. I taught online to many different platforms. And I just was, really enjoying it actually. But didn't find it super reliable. I didn't want to be at the mercy of the platforms. Their policies are constantly changing. And then I came across James's ebook, his free ebook, and I read it. It made a lot of sense. I took the challenge, and that's what got me started on becoming a niche teacher. And it's been a really amazing and pretty transformational journey for me. And then I'm also helping James on his team as well, and helping him a lot with the challenge. So maybe we can start with you, Cindy, if you just want to introduce yourself and let us know when you took the challenge too.
Yeah, my name is Cindy, and I went through the challenge 1 year after Tara did in March 2021. I have a lot of background in various things. I've taught abroad in Japan. I have business experience with Japanese companies. And I have a master's in speech language pathology, and I took that into being an accent trainer. So I teach mostly Japanese and Korean people how to communicate more clearly using American accent and pronunciation.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. That's great. Okay. I love that. Thank you for being here, Cindy. And we also have Keith. So, Keith, if you want to give us a little intro here.
Well, firstly, I feel like the new boy here because I only finished the challenge about a week ago. So for me, it's a very close experience. But before that, I had a very varied experience, as Cindy has done, really. I spent 30 years working in a variety of different contexts, business, in the arts. I trained actually as an actor at one time, so I also studied phonetics, although not to the level that Cindy was describing there, I think. Then I needed to finish that work about 5 years ago, and I had to find work I could do from home. So I fell upon this ESL teaching online, began working for the platforms that so many of us have been on, including Tara there, and have done a lot of work on them. I think I've amassed about 8,500 hours working just with adults. But then, as Tara says, things began to change and became more difficult on those platforms. So I realized I had to find an exit strategy. So I thought, well, perhaps I'd better become an independent teacher. And that's why when I found James's ebook, like Tara, I thought it made a lot of sense and had a lot more structure and direction than anything I'd tried before. So I thought I'd give it a go, and it has been inspirational.
Awesome. We're so glad you did. And yeah, no, it's good to have you here, Keith, and someone like who freshly finished the challenge. Because for me and Cindy, it has been a while. So we're glad to have, people actually at all different timelines, if you think about it. And yeah, so our stories are really similar in how we got started. And for those of you watching, does that resonate with any of you? Like, are you guys teaching on platforms? How's it going for you? Do you enjoy it? Are you looking to do your own thing over here so that this can be dependable? Let us know. And I'll also check some comments here. Hey, Janet, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Good to see you today. Hey, Philip Huddleston. And hi, Hannah. And Hannah said she signed up for the next challenge and looking forward to hearing your stories. That's great, Hannah. So we're looking forward to going through the challenge with you in June, and hopefully you're going to love it, and I think you will. So Catherine said, your actor training has given you great presentation skills. I'm sure you speak very clearly, Keith. I agree.
Thank you, Catherine.
And someone's joining us. Hi, can't see your name, but hello. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna get right started. I do have like a few questions prepared just to help guide us and talk and chat a little bit about the challenge here and kind of share some insights about it for you guys. And also, if you guys don't mind liking the video or giving it like a love, that can help us promote the video to a wider audience. So if you don't mind that, thank you. Okay, so my first question, and we can just start with Cindy. So I wanted to ask you, Cindy, what was your biggest takeaway from the 21-day challenge, you would say, or biggest takeaways? It's okay.
I think the main thing that I got, well, there's two main things that I got from the challenge. First of all, just the fact that I had to get out on social media more than I was doing. I was very social media phobic. I found James. He did not find me because there was no way he would have been able to find me with my social media presence. I will say that, like Keith, I had an existing business prior to starting the challenge. And it was doing okay. It wasn't doing great. So I really needed to get out there more. And I definitely don't do LinkedIn as much as a lot of other teacher entrepreneurs do. But I will say that I've spent more time on Clubhouse, for example. But even the time that I do spend on LinkedIn and other social media sites has been super valuable. I've gotten a lot of valuable contacts from it. And Clubhouse in particular has helped me build my skills and my understanding of my niche more than more than previously, for sure. And that's something I don't think I would have even known existed had I not heard of it through the challenge and the inner circle. The other thing that I got from being a member of the inner circle than from going through the challenge was just having accountability buddies to help me through, because I have the hardest time forcing myself to do social media stuff. Aside from Clubhouse, that's like playtime to me. But having other people who are going through the same issues as me, and other people who could say, hey, don't focus on that, focus on this other thing, has been incredible for me.
Yeah, for sure. That's great to hear, Cindy. I mean, getting accountability is huge to help us take action. And sometimes we need, other people's perspectives, and they're seeing things that we're not really seeing that can help us move forward along the journey. So that's definitely invaluable. And yeah, Clubhouse has been a great place for Cindy. So I know Hannah was asking, what is Clubhouse? And thanks, Catherine. You answered, it's a social media platform, which is audio only, right? So Cindy, she networks there and she gets her prospects there. I think in the past, when I took the challenge, there wasn't Clubhouse marketing, but now Clubhouse is covered in the challenge. Although most teachers will use LinkedIn, maybe even Facebook more commonly, but we have quite a few teachers who are really into Clubhouse, which I think is cool. So
honestly, they didn't have Clubhouse marketing when I did the challenge either.
really,
Yeah. So, but I heard about it through the training, and I just went for it. And it turns out that it works a lot better for my particular communication style and my niche than LinkedIn.
nice.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, so it's like try things out, see where your niche is really hanging out and see what works for your style. And so yeah, in the past we didn't, but now we cover LinkedIn, Facebook, and Clubhouse, which is really cool. Thanks for sharing that, Cindy. What about you, Keith? What would you say was your biggest takeaways?
Well, two things again, really. The first is just the structured, almost scientific way that the method is given to us that we can then implement and create something which makes perfect sense. Had we started from nothing at all and created it, it would have been a miracle. But by following a structured process, we can create individual responses to the template. And that gives us a really good, strong foundation to have something specific to promote. Because, like many people, before I went on the challenge, I looked into it as soon as I left my other work 5 years ago. And I was throwing advertising money in all directions. I was saying, look at me, join my classes. They're wonderful. Learn English here. And I was amazed when nobody actually came knocking at the proverbial door. So it wasn't really until I saw how James had enabled us to focus very closely on a very specific targeted market, and also the methods that the social media platforms allow us to use, that I was I could really see how beneficial and sensible and practical this move was. So that's the main thing I think I got out of it, the structure of creating the new business. And then the process of doing it, it is quite demanding, especially in the middle part of the challenge, I would say, when you have to start making all those connections on the social medium that you've chosen. And it is very labor intensive, that part. But for me, I quite enjoyed doing it as a new activity, but also I had a bit of success, which also spurred me on a little bit. And as Cindy says, having other people around you who are going through the same experiences, the same challenges, the same frustrations, successes and failures, all of those things do help spur you on. And to be honest, that's why after the challenge finished, I was right in line to join the inner circle, because I was frightened of losing that momentum.
Right, right. It's like, everybody just lifts you up. And this is how I felt when I took the challenge too. Like if I had gone and even implemented that on my own, I don't know if I could have. It was that environment that really kept you going. So I think that's so true. Also, what you said about it being very step by step, each day builds on the next. Yes, week 2 has a lot to it with marketing in there. And then week 3 is a bit lighter, giving us a chance to catch up at the end. But it's nice to, see everything come together and start taking action right away. If you're a process learner, you just learn, you can take action later. And it's very, step by step. It's very methodical. So that was something I really enjoyed about it myself, both of those things. So those are great ones. Thanks for sharing that, Keith. Good. Well, the next question. Well, let me see. Some of you guys are writing in here. Okay. Hello, Colette. Good to have you here from a wet North Wales. Oh no. Um, Hannah, can you please tell us? Yeah, Inner Circle, we have some further training beyond the challenge. It might not be for everyone. It is for teachers who really want this business as their main thing, right? To be an online independent teacher. So we have even further training. But many teachers do complete the challenge, and then that's enough for them, and they get started that way. So, okay, my next question is, yes, it is called a challenge. It's called a challenge for a reason. what did you feel most challenged by, Cindy?
Going on LinkedIn, that is 100% my biggest challenge. Unlike you guys, I never worked on a platform actually. Um, and I did all my um, program planning, material generation all by myself also. That part was a breeze. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it. But going on LinkedIn just drained my energy.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I would spend 15 minutes on LinkedIn and then I would need like 4 hours to recover from it. um, and it's something that, like I said, I got a lot of value out of, but just forcing myself to do that was the big challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure. When you're, it might not be your style and something's kind of draining your energy and it's not really the best place for your niche. And then you're like, okay, time to try
Right.
something else. Clubhouse,
Mm-hmm.
this, yes, I found it. So it's a matter of trying things out. There's no right or wrong way to go about it. We do have suggested steps, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was something challenging for me as well. I had never had LinkedIn before. Like you, I wasn't a very social media person. But yeah, James has different mindset videos to encourage us to take action and keep trying things out and even put ourselves out there, whatever way it takes to get us in front of that potential client who really needs our help. So that's what's so great. That's awesome, Cindy. Yeah. I can understand that for sure. Okay, what about you, Keith? What would you say you felt the most challenged
I
by
think possibly the very first day, to be honest, because on the
Mm-hmm.
very first day we're asked, "Who are you going to teach for the rest of your life?" Virtually, I mean, not quite for the rest of your life, but for the rest of this challenge, and possibly for a long time afterwards, you're going to teach a particular identifiable group of people, not too broad a canvas, not too narrow one. And who is it going to be? And this you have to do on the first day, which I found quite difficult and more challenging than I expected because I had to come up with answers before any of the questions had been asked. But that was quite challenging. And then we talked about the pressure of getting the social media marketing activity happening in week 2. But week 3 is a much calmer and more rewarding overview of where you are. But also, can I mention, I don't know if you have another question about this, but I think possibly my favorite day was, I think it was day 16, when we are actually told, uh, are you doing, you can measure how well you're doing. Have you been able to get this many people who've signed up for discussion sessions from the people you contacted? How many of those you contacted have connected with you? And you're given a matrix to indicate what is success and what isn't. And if it isn't, you maybe have to think about another way or tweaking what you're doing or trying things in a slightly different way. And for me, that's the first time I've come across anything like this when talking about social media marketing. How do you know if it's worked or not? And that for me was a very worthwhile and yet not too strenuous day.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up day 16, Keith. Yeah, because like you said, it's not always easy in trainings, or at least I've gone through a lot of trainings and I didn't always find different like metrics to help us know, is this working or not? And day 16 gives us a clear one, like you said. So that is my favorite day too. It really shows us how to observe that market feedback and gives us some indication, do I need to make any changes or tweaks, and do I need to try something else out now or keep going as I am? So I love that. Yeah. So that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for sharing that one. And the next question is, what did you like about the 21-day challenge most? Now, this may carry into some of your answers about the takeaway, but it's okay if that crosses over. What did you like about it the most, Cindy?
I don't remember. It was over a year ago. Um, let me think.
Yeah, it could even be something general like,
Uh,
the accountability that the group gave you, or,
mhm. I think my answers before still stand.
Mm-hmm.
Same deal exactly. Like accountability and the fact that it pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit, social media wise. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe if
Mhm.
you hadn't come across, I know if I hadn't, I don't think I would be, social media marketing if at all, or I wouldn't be doing it as soon as I did when I was going through the
Right.
challenge, because seeing everyone else doing it, I was like, okay, they're a lot like me. Why
Mhm.
can't I do it too? So that really encouraged me. Yeah.
I do sort of have a slightly different answer. I just remembered something. So I knew that I had to do social media marketing, and I had actually done some other people's trainings before finding James's training. And none of them felt particularly relevant to me. But doing James's training, which is meant specifically for teaching, um, it really touched on more areas that I felt needed addressing.
Right. That's such a great point. I mean, there is so much out there, and it's not to say we can't benefit and take things from other trainings that may not be as niche specific as James is,
Mhm.
him helping teachers or teacher entrepreneurs, but when it is everyone kind of in a similar world as you, I feel like that really does help. Plus, James has tailored and created everything specifically to help us teachers or people who want to become teachers and have their own businesses, right? And he even knows our mindset blocks, and he even knows how to describe ways for us to overcome them. So that's huge. I can really relate to what you said there as well, because I've had similar experiences. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's really good. Keith, what did you like about it? I know you mentioned some things already. Was there anything else you
Yeah,
wanted to touch
I think possibly the small wins that happen as you're going through the process. Very often, when you're doing some kind of training program, you don't know if it's going to work until well after the training's finished. But here, because you're kind of working in real time, you get almost instant feedback from anything that you do from real people. And that is interesting. It's encouraging, and it's something you can share with others. And I found that was a very positive thing in the challenge. And the other thing is, I've always had suspicions about online training that they are remote. They don't engender any kind of emotional engagement that you might get in a classroom with a group of people together. But I have to say, I think this challenge does start to enable us to do that. It feels in some ways almost like a group being together in the same place because they're doing the same things at the same time in their own way. It does feel more like a classroom situation. And as such, you do feel not only accountability, but a sense of unity and loyalty and wish to support the other people in your group. And that's returned to you, which I think is a great win for this style of learning online.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I feel like nowadays, like a lot of us, we might not be able to get in the classroom anymore, and we've transitioned or it's not possible, and we kind of miss that. But even though this is remote, technically, I agree with you. I feel like we have that sense of being together and going through the journey together, almost like we were in a classroom with that environment. And that's so true. The small wins is great, because when you get a small win, or another person, another participant has some small win, of course we encourage you guys to share those. And when you do, that does a lot of things, and that shows people, okay, I can do it too, I just need to keep going. And that encourages them along the way. So I love the ones that you brought up here. And yeah, we try to have a great, it's a group of many like-minded people in there, and that is a huge resource to draw from, drawing from all these different people all around the world, their experiences, is huge, and it is just a lot of fun, and such a supportive environment going through it together. So thank you so much for sharing that one with us, Keith. And yeah, I touched on mindset a little bit, about how James helps us with our mindset blocks in the challenge. And so in the challenge, we don't only coach teachers how to get students online and charge a higher rate, but we also help them shift their mindset to help them overcome their fears and, step outside their comfort zone, like Cindy was saying. This is super important. Many of us have these fears of putting ourselves out there and connecting with potential students. Fears about our niche, is how is this niche going to work? I don't know anything about this niche, all these kinds of fears, right? So how did the challenge change your mindset or help you shift your mindset, if at all? Cindy?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. That's a hard one to answer because, again, it was quite a while ago.
I can remind you like some of the mindset blocks that get touched on, like imposter syndrome, feeling like an imposter, perfectionism, fear of failure, fear of rejection. So I don't know if you had it. I know you're coming from a place of having had your business already, and we get a lot of people like that in the challenge, and they just need to get to the next level. We also have people like me who didn't have my business at all. So I had a lot of imposter syndrome, but I don't know if it was the case with you.
I don't think imposter syndrome was exactly my problem. I think maybe more along the lines of fear of failure and fear of rejection, and maybe a little bit of perfectionism thrown in for good measure. Yeah, it's been so long that it's hard to say exactly how it helped me.
Right. At this point, it's hard to think back because you're probably a completely different person now. I mean, I am.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just enough. I feel like it must have done something.
Yeah.
Because things that I struggled with and just didn't do are things that I'll do now.
Right. Things that weren't a part of like your routine,
Right.
and maybe you had to think about and get stuck on. Now you just do them like it's second nature, right?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Just the fact that like just posting things is still kind of nerve-wracking for me. I don't which is again one reason why Clubhouse works for me, because I can just open a room and start talking. That works great for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I guess that's my answer.
No, that makes sense. And, finding what works for you and the mindset of, okay, not saying, I'm not enjoying this LinkedIn. It's not working well for my niche. She's shifted to something else, right? Try things out until they work. Do what works for you. It is your business, so you want it to feel like you, right? At the end of the day. So I think that's a good one, actually. Nice. I know it was so long ago for me too, but obviously now I'm involved. But okay, that's good. So Keith, did it help you with your mindset at all? Would you say?
To be honest, rather like Cindy, I'm not sure it did. As you might have guessed, I'm one of the more mature members of the group. So I've had a fair bit of experience one way or another. And as I also mentioned, I've trained in theatre. And in theatre, we're used to rejection and how to deal with it. We're also used to saying things in a way and changing our mind in order to present ourselves in the way that we want to present ourselves in. So for me, to be honest, the mindset section wasn't that helpful, I think. But I was able to find out about other people's experiences of it, and they documented it in the challenge to say for them, I've always had this problem. Now I feel better about how to deal with it.
Yeah.
I've never felt adequate when I'm teaching. So I'm really glad to have this to have in my mind that I can use to help me feel differently about it. So it has certainly affected some people, but I'm sorry I can't offer any personal experience on that really.
That's okay. I mean, from your background and the things you've been doing, you're kind of used to those things, so you're coming from that place. But it's good that it was a good reminder of like just how valuable your teaching and your coaching is, and how much of a difference it makes, and just kind of a reminder of our value. That always helps. But I will say, guys, most for a lot of teachers that go through the challenge, including myself, we're not exactly in this case, how Cindy and Keith are. So for many of us, we do have a lot of these mindset blocks that are preventing us from moving forward. As Keith said, we do choose our niche on the first day, and James did that for a reason, because if we don't just get started and start testing our niche, we're never going to just decide on something. So people have a ton of imposter syndrome and fear of failure around their niche. Because many of us choose niches we actually didn't know anything about. And that was my case. I teach lawyers and I didn't know anything about them. So, that gave me a ton of imposter syndrome. And James has different, techniques and ways to help us overcome that. And he reminds us, hey, you're not teaching them how to be a lawyer. You're teaching them communication skills that they need in order to be a better lawyer. And I'm like, oh yeah, that actually is true. So for me, it was, a bit different. Like the mindset section did really help. And a lot of teachers that go through do say that's their favorite part. So in that way, it's different, a little bit different from maybe like Cindy or Keith's experience, which is super valuable to hear, but I wanted to share that. And Keith also shared, how he saw a lot of teachers transforming along the way this past May, and which is cool to hear actually. Good. So I'll read a couple comments here. Hey, Will, thanks for your question. You're going to be in the June challenge. Welcome. Good to have you in there. And he's asking, where can I find the times for the live sessions? So in guide 2, guide 3, in guide 3 of your 21-day challenge June Facebook group, there should be a poll, which is a Q&A poll. You may have already seen it. If you haven't seen it, go vote in the Q&A poll in guide 3, and we will soon publish those live event times either today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. So those have not been published yet, but they will be very soon. And Lisa's saying hi. Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us here. So I will ask the audience, do you guys have any questions for us or any questions about the challenge? Any questions for these teachers here that you would like addressed? It has been really great to hear their insights about the challenge and kind of about this journey. And while we're seeing if you guys have questions, yes, we are getting started for the next round of the 21-day challenge on June 1st. So on Wednesday, right? And so go ahead and join us if this is something you've been wanting to do. Think about what Keith and Cindy talked about, and if that's something that resonates with you, or it's sounds interesting and this is something you want to do and try out, just don't hesitate. A lot of people tell us, wish I'd done this earlier. And for me, I know I definitely think that way. And I do have a link here that you can join the challenge with, and I just shared it into the chat here. And this is a monthly promotion. So by using this link, you can get a 35% discount. And there are only 30 spots left using this link here. So those could go fast. So just so you know, that one is in there. And in case the link did not post, it should have. I will also share this link in the comments of this video right after we finish here. So then we have a few questions from Manuel. He asks, have you ever had Spanish teachers among your teams, and how did it go for them? Yes, Manuel, we have. We have had Spanish teachers, German teachers, Japanese teachers, just to name a few, Italian teachers. We have Spanish teachers in our inner circle as well. In our inner circle community, and they have gone through the challenge. They are doing very well. Quite a few of them, they teach Spanish. I know a few personally who teach Spanish to, for example, American healthcare professionals, because here in the US, where I am, there is a huge need for that. Not to say that's the only niche that would work for Spanish. I'm just saying I know a few who teach that. And I know some who teach hospitality industry, hotel managers in Spain, in other different countries. So yes, we have quite a few Spanish teachers in our community, and they're having their students every month and enjoying the journey. So I hope that answered your question. And Hannah, you asked, do you have any advice for picking a niche? Are there questions I can ask myself before June 1st? Okay, yeah, so Hannah, you're getting started on June 1st. Day one will give you everything you need to know, but you could think about, while we're here, think about what are you passionate about, even if you don't know a lot about it, even if you're just interested in it, okay? You don't have to know a lot about it. If you are coming from a teaching background and you don't have a background in anything else, like myself, ask yourself, are there any students I've taught that I really enjoyed teaching? And what did they do for a living? This is what helped me choose my niche. And what else? If you have a background in something else, right? Let's say you worked in sales in the past. You can ask yourself, would I be interested in actually working with the kinds of people I worked with, but, non-native speakers? And by the way, teaching a group of professionals that when you've worked in that field previously, as you can imagine, it's not the same as working in that field. So people who really hated their jobs actually can really love working with those professionals and helping them improve their communication skills. So I would ask myself some questions like that, but that's all I'll say, because day one will get you covered. Manuel, oh, exciting. Great. It's good to have you here in the challenge, and we're looking forward to working with you in there and with everyone. Good, guys. Well, I don't see any more questions. I don't know if Cindy and Keith, do you have anything else you want to say, or you're good? I think
I'm
they're
fine.
Good. Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Keith, for your time today and for sharing all those insights. And thanks, everyone, for watching. If you have any more questions, you guys can leave them in the comments of this video, or maybe try tagging me and we'll get to them. So we hope to see you here in June. I shared the promotion link and I'll share it again after, the 35% discount link. So yeah, thank you everyone, and have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world. Take care. Bye-bye.